Welcome to another edition of Insurance Questions Podcast, episode 83. But it's Tuesday. It's not Insurance Question Podcast. What is it, Sarah?
Tax question podcast.
What number?
I'm not keeping track of the numbers.
Seven. Number 7.
I knew that.
Hey, I finally got the name of the podcast. We're not adding numbers on top of that.
Good,
Like that's just not.
Good. So listen, did everybody enjoy their Memorial Day weekend? Everybody have a
wonderful.
safe weekend?
Yeah.
I see that you didn't get any sun, Sarah, because I mean you're
Leave me alone. It is too humid to be going outside and getting sun. I need to move somewhere other than Texas if you want me to have like a tan.
Vitamin D is your friend, Sarah. I told you I'm not going to pick on you today, so that's not me picking on you.
And yet you did. And yet you did.
So, yeah, I had a great Memorial Day weekend. My swimming pool finally opened, so I was swimming in the water, swimming in the pool. Swimming is cool. We go swimming. I used to sing that to my granddaughter all the time. So I hope that's not like a real song that we get wiped out for, then we have to mute it.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, copyright gods. I apologize for that.
You didn't write that song?
I know. It sounds like I did.
Yeah, it does.
So, it's usually Katie or Allie and my daughters that get to hear my wonderful singing voice all to themselves. I don't share it with anybody, but now it's shared to the world.
Oh, how lucky are we?
Oh, the joy.
I wonder if they're going to sign me to like an album contract, Don. And if I was signed to an album contract, what company should I sign with, Don?
Which company would that be?
Warner Brothers?
Maybe. Do they make albums?
I don't even think Rush is with Polygram anymore. I don't even know what Rush is on anymore. Is that like a Canadian company? I don't know. So, all right. Well, I'm so glad we're talking about taxes. Well, royalty fees. Once I have a famous singing career, you can help me with that, Sarah.
Yes.
Sarah can show me how to stash the
after.
cash.
Maybe we should get your friend Billy Sheehan on another episode to talk about that.
Once he's done with his tour, he's going to.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So I forget where he is. Like I am bummed I'm not going to be able to make it home for his show on the 6th of June.
That's too bad.
So, all right, we're done with our nonsense. I'm going to mute myself so you can start your show, Sarah. In fact, I think I'm going to even go make myself a coffee.
So what is it with if you're not the center of attention, you decide to leave?
Listen. I'm doing it self-preservation because you've been hollering at me a lot the past couple weeks.
Oh my God, you need to stop with the hollering. Nobody hollers at you.
Are you using the mother voice?
She does. She makes that.
It's the mother voice.
Sir. Here, wait, let me go. Sir.
That's a difference than saying I holler. Me talking is not hollering. Trust me, I can holler if I want to holler.
All right.
How many times has she blessed your heart though over the past couple weeks?
Yeah.
It's not for a good way.
It never is.
So we had another wonderful tornado warning last Thursday night here. Was it last Thursday or last month? I don't know. My days are all coming together. So I'm not used to that yet. I went to a wonderful meeting where they had all this fantastic Southern food, and it was delicious, but my body is not liking Southern food. Let me tell you what. Okay.
Well, you have to limit what you
Sarah says, stop eating that stuff then. I go, I got to build up immunity.
Resistance?
Yes.
Oh, goodness sakes.
So, all right, I'm going to make coffee so you guys talk amongst yourself.
Oh, thank you.
I swear, we need to pick another time when Ed doesn't have to go make coffee or get his laundry out of the washer dryer or take a nap.
Rush.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So anyways, there was some amazing news that came out. So this year, the IRS took on a pilot program where if you made under $79,000 adjusted gross income, which is a calculation that we can go into further at another one or another podcast. But basically, in last year, if you made less than 79,000 adjusted gross income, you could file directly with the IRS if you just had W-2 wages. So like if you had retirement account, you sold some stock, you sold your house, you had a business, that didn't qualify for you to file. I know this year in Texas was one of the pilot programs. I actually told people to go to the IRS website and file instead of paying a fee, because if you can file for free and you're in that income bracket, go file for free.
Does you have to be single and filing single, or could it be
They just
joint?
looked at if you made less than 79,000 of adjusted gross
household
income.
income?
Yeah. So it didn't say that you had to be single. It basically, you just had to have a very simple return. Because it came out, TurboTax and some of the other big ones say they file for free, but then it's, we'll make sure that you get audit protection and all this other stuff for a small fee. And
sure.
Yeah. So the IRS is rolling out that piece. There are other filers. If you don't want to use the IRS directly, you can use, they have some other programs that file for free. You just have to go to the IRS website to see what those partnerships are for the different softwares. I always tell people, so the IRS, there's debates whether they should be going through the tax return filing system, because they're also the ones who audit you. Yeah. So it's questionable if they should be getting into that program as well. But to me, if it's a simple return and you're just getting a refund, it might be easier that way. And they've actually extended the program. They said it went really well, and they're going to extend it to 2029. They have not mentioned if they're going to extend to more states. So I'll keep providing updates as it comes out.
So they're going to extend it another 5 years.
They're going to extend it another 5 years. And I was looking at the numbers. So remember, there's always been a free filing program. You just had to find the right place to file. But with the IRS participating, let me go back to my number. The 12 states signed up for the direct file account, and 140,803 taxpayers filed their federal taxes using the new service. That may not sound like a lot when you're talking about how many people are in the US or how many people are in the 12 states that you were able to file.
Right. That's what I was just thinking.
But it wasn't as well known either. Like I said, when people came to me and they're like, I just have a W-2, go to the IRS website. If you make under this, go test to see if that will work. If it doesn't, come back to me. I have no problem. But I'm one of those I'd rather work for my clients, as in whatever makes the most or best decision for them. And I could have just been like, yeah, I'll file it. Here's my fee. But that's just not right when I know that a program exists that's free.
Right.
And you don't know how many other people were, hey, they're doing this test pilot. Go try the test pilot, see if that works. You don't know how many people are actually doing that or paying attention to the news. Or I don't know, because I don't watch the news or social media, so I don't know how much the IRS was telling people about it.
I did see some commercials for it on TV, I think.
Okay. I don't watch TV.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a normal person. I don't really watch TV. I never have. Well, I grew up with it. I had a TV in my room growing up. So when I moved out of my parents' house, I'm like, there's no need for a TV. Like, all it does is take away your time.
That's true.
And I think the only time I've had TVs before I was married, because my husband came with 4 TVs, as I won one in a raffle. And then when that TV broke, my mom gave me one for Christmas. And it's just because the kids need a TV. We didn't use the TV, but to watch cartoons on DVDs that I had from like when I grew up. So yeah. But and so there's that. I just kind of wanted to explain that. That just recently came out. end of last week, which again, I don't know how many people are talking about it. So,
Well, yeah, if it just came out at the end of last week to really announce it to the tax-paying public, it's after the April 15th tax
well, no,
deadline.
I mean the extension. The extension came out.
Okay. Okay.
I don't recall. Hold on. Actually, I have it pulled up on the IRS website. If you have questions, you can always go to the IRS website to look. I was hoping I was going to be able to see when they first opened it or when they first started talking about it, but I don't see that. I could do some more research for that. I don't think it's that important to find out when it
Right.
started. But yeah, no. So extension to the 29th. One thing I know a lot of people are concerned with is after this pilot program, how far is the IRS going to go in the tax preparation business?
Right.
Are they going to take more of the complicated returns like the business tax returns, the individual returns where they get K1s from businesses, which is just a tax form showing profit, loss, and your portion of it for your personal taxes, your retirement, your annuities, your dividends, your interest. Essentially, the IRS gets all of these documents. So it wouldn't be hard for them to go ahead and create your tax return. I've heard that argument a few times. The only concern I have is they're not in the best interest of looking at all the tax credits and deductions that you could potentially have.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's one of those, because I know right now you can write off medical expenses, charitable contributions. They don't get documentations of those. I mean,
Correct.
essentially they could, but then I'm in favor of smaller government, not bigger.
It's like, well, since we're the entity that collects all the money, we're going to collect as much as we can without giving you legitimate tax breaks.
Yes. Well, and it's funny because in accounting, you're supposed to have segregation of duties. That's to make sure that people are not taking advantage of the company. And
Right.
I've worked for places where that segregation, Eddie, stop. I have not worked, or I've worked for companies that didn't have that segregation of duties, and someone was always stealing or taking advantage. Like it's
Exactly.
just you just plan for the worst and prevent it with policies and procedures.
That's right.
And for those listeners who don't know how to do that and have a business and want to know, they're free to reach out to me or any other accounting firm that has that specialty to protect themselves and their businesses.
That's so important.
It is very important. But that comes to my mind when you have someone who is taking in payments, but then they're also auditing, but then they're also taking the filings. Like to me, it's a little bit too much.
Yes.
You want to be able to say, okay. The other problem that you have, though, is there are a lot of firms who don't know what they're doing. I've seen it. I've come across it, and people make human error. I've seen issues with the IRS making errors. Like it's natural. It's human.
Oh, sure.
But the thing is there are some people that are CPAs, very knowledgeable. I'm not going to say that they're not knowledgeable. I've seen it where they're good at tax, but they're doing accounting, or they're good at accounting and they're doing tax work. Or they're good at the simplified returns, but not so well at complicated, or vice versa. Like
Right.
I've just seen some issues, and instead of them going, hey, I have a problem, or I need to hire people who that's their specialty, they try to do it. And then of course the client is penalized.
That's right.
And the IRS doesn't care that you hired a professional to do the work. You signed off on it. You should understand what you're doing. And you should know is their stance on it.
That's
So
very true. That's very true.
there are times where the person who prepared the return, they get penalized depending on what the issue is. But you would have to prove that you provided the documentation. An example would be I have run across it where a client got a letter from the IRS that they were trying to use non-taxable income as taxable income and said, hey, you owe us an extra $20,000, $30,000. And you have to draft a letter saying, nope, you read this wrong. Here's this information. And I mean, I guess you can still try to do it if they ever do take over all of the tax preparation. One, I don't know if they're going to try to do that. Again, it's just speculation. But the other part is, who are you going to argue it with? Instead, you don't have that middleman to oversee. So we'll just see.
What
That's
happens
true.
if your tax preparer makes that mistake and they get called on the carpet for it? How does that affect the consumer?
So what do you mean by making the mistake? Marking something as taxable or non-taxable?
Yeah, any erroneous error,
Okay.
I mean, not everybody's perfect, you know what I mean? It's gonna
Correct.
happen
So
eventually.
let's say it was really taxable and I marked it as non-taxable. We'll just use that as a thing. The client is still responsible for, one, double checking everything. So they will get a penalty. They will have to pay interest and they will have to pay the tax. They could try to go against the person who filed it to get more. Depending on the amount, the IRS will also charge the tax preparer the error, and they have to pay a penalty. If it continues, if it's a known issue with the preparer, the IRS can determine that they're not able to do tax preparation work.
Makes sense.
Depending on their licensing and how everything is structured. So there are a few things in place. I've even talked to people. One guy was using someone, a CPA firm, for his tax filings. It was the first year he's ever done it. He was referred to him from a friend. Well, he got audited because the CPA was getting audited because the CPA was doing some shady stuff on his own stuff.
Oh my
And
God.
so the IRS is like, well, if you're doing it on your own, how do I know you're not doing it on
That's
your
awful.
client? Yeah. So I have a lot of clients who reach out when I'm done preparing and they're like, I want to go have a meeting. I don't know what any of this means. And we'd go line by line and I explain everything, all the different calculations. If you try to set up a meeting with your current person, if you have a current person and they're like, oh no, yeah, we can have a meeting, and they don't want to go line by line, they don't want to explain it to you in terms you understand, you might want to reevaluate that relationship. Because I'm on the standpoint of, I could make mistakes. I'm fine if you find a mistake, it's your return. Or if you don't understand it and I just have to explain it, I've had some clients, I've had to explain it like 5 different times. Like, it is what it is. Because you're talking about
different
tax.
ways.
Not a lot of people understand it. It's fine. But I try to take my introductory accounting teaching techniques to work with my clients to where I can explain it in multiple different ways, hoping they catch what I'm talking about. And I've even had multiple meetings because one woman was like, I still don't understand. We'll try again. We'll digest the information I told you. Let's come back later.
Exactly.
Well, you brought up a really good point, Sarah, and it kind of were your gears clicking too, Don? It's like a lot of people, they're like, when we go to sell insurance, they're like, oh, I got it, I'm all set. Well, 9 times out of 10, they haven't talked to this person in a long, long, long time. And just because you've been doing business with somebody for a while doesn't mean there might be somebody better out there.
Right.
And there's so many people that do what we do and what Sarah does. If you're not happy with that person, go elsewhere.
Yeah, very true, very true. I wanted to just backtrack because like that one hypothetical example, you've got a CPA that all of a sudden, he's being audited, so that great agency that likes to collect our money says, oh, well, since you're being audited, we have to look at all the returns you did for all of your clients.
Ooh.
Now, that agency, they may or may not have quotas as far as number of audits that they must submit on the books, right, so to speak. So they're like, oh my God, look at
this. Is that really a thing?
I don't know. I don't know.
I've never heard of that. Like, I've never heard of the situation where the CPA was audited. I'm pretty sure, and then the clients were audited. I'm pretty sure what the issue is some of the deductions that the guy was doing put him up of, okay, that might be another return that he's not doing something correct with, or he's shifting things. I don't,
Right.
because he had a complicated return as well when we were talking about it. It wasn't he just has some 1099Rs and W-2s. So I don't think it's they come in and audit everybody. It's they kind of go through of, okay, which one of his clients might have a more complicated return that does cause us to look deeper into
Similar
it.
income or whatever the case might be.
Yes.
Right.
Have you ever gotten called into court for anything, any type of litigation or that? When it comes to somebody's taxes, they bring you in as a professional witness or anything like that?
No, so because I'm not a CPA or EA, and I try to hire employees who have those designations, one of them would have to go if it's in tax court. I'm not allowed to represent people in front of the IRS.
What is an EA?
An EA is an enrolled agent. So they basically they have to take a test that's designed by the IRS to prove that they know the information to represent them in front of the IRS.
Okay.
My issue is because my ADHD, I do not test well. I may know the information, but then I start second guessing myself. It's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. So I'm just like, I will just hire the people. I'll oversee it. I'll use my tax knowledge for my accounting clients and just bridge the gap, and we'll call it a day.
I
I
just
don't
wanted
really
to
want
let
to.
you guys know that for whatever reason, I'm going to have a mandatory update in less than 10 minutes and I can't stop it.
I did see
Okay.
that remaining meeting time, 9
So you
minutes.
guys
and
might want to
1
wrap
second.
this up.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
By the
Well,
way,
don't
the
forget to
barista
like,
joined us.
subscribe, share, follow, send fan mail, all the things. Eddie can do his little spiel that this is
Yes.
only for
That he
educational.
forgot to do.
All the information and opinions, Betty Buffalo, Sassy Sarah, and Donnie Lowe are purely for entertainment purposes.
So you skip out to make coffee,
I did.
and you limit this
I did.
meeting
I did.
so that I don't get
I
a lot
did.
of talking time.
I did. So,
You're wearing your barista apron.
that's right.
That
I
should
didn't
be-
want to get my shirt dirty.
There you go.
So,
You have to do it
all
the
right. Well,
next
everybody tune in
podcast.
tomorrow, Wednesday, May 29th. And like we always say, if you like working with people that are just like you, we're the people to see. www.ebiagency 716-306-2020. Go to the partner page and you will find the sassiest Sarahs of all. So I'm glad everybody had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, and see you tomorrow. Stay safe, everybody.